the adjustment to play, you know, in a stage where there's no one in the crowd and playing online with no direct response of a crowd is very difficult.
Hey everybody, this is Molly Stone, Associate Director of Live Performance at Catamoment Arts, coming to you once again from my kitchen with an exciting Catamoment. Today's Catamoment features a friend of mine, Waahli Yuseff, who is one of the founding members of the 15-year-long band Nomadic Massive. They've just recently celebrated that 15-year milestone, and Waahli is also a solo hip-hop artist. He is based out of Montreal, and he sings in both English and Haitian Creole. And Waahli and I had a chat just the other day about his brand new EP that is being released on July 31st, which happens to be today. And that might not be the day that you're watching this Catamoment, but you can check out his brand new video, which will come after the interview, and then you can head over to Bandcamp and purchase his brand new EP, Soap Opera. So before I get to the interview, I've got a couple of announcements. Right now, the Art Center is still closed to the public, but we have exciting stuff happening. We have the Drive-In to Stay Safe movie and concert series that is happening every weekend through the month of August, where you can see movies and concerts at both Northern Vermont University locations. So NVU Johnson will have a movie this week, and NVU Linden will be featuring Dave Keller on stage. So please come out and enjoy live music and our drive-in movies until the end of August. Also, another announcement that we are making is that our First Night North celebration, which happens every single year on December 31st, will be happening. However, we are making some adjustments. We're making a major adjustment. We are doing it all virtual, all online. It'll be 8 hours of entertainment that you are used to, just in a new format. So we are doing this so we can keep all of you safe. And for the first time, we'll be guaranteeing that all of you will stay warm. We are hoping that this is not going to be the new normal going forward, but this year, December 31st, 2020, expect some live virtual entertainment from 4 p.m. until midnight, just like we usually do in person. So please support us in that effort and join us on December 31st this year. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you my friend Waahli. He and I chatted. He was in Montreal. I was here in Bradford, Vermont. And we talked about several things. We, of course, talked about his brand new EP that is just being released. And we also talked about sampling and hip hop culture. We also talked about what it's like being, again, an international artist when you can't tour. So Waahli and I discussed all of those things. And please, watch to the end and then check out his brand new video filmed in Brazil right before lockdown. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Talk to you soon. Hey Waahli, thanks for joining me.
How you doing, Molly? How you doing today?
I'm great.
Nice.
So I am so thrilled to have you here. It's been a while since we've talked in person, I guess. It's not even a thing anymore. This is kind of what we do. We talk in person on Zoom. But the last time I saw you was September of last year. And so much has happened between then and now. And for you especially, you have been working really hard during this time. But first, I wanted to ask you, how have things been going with you personally since we've experienced COVID-19?
I mean, since September and COVID, I mean, things starting to take a shape on its own, you know, early March. But it's weird because me at that time, I was traveling a lot because that year when I was in Vermont, I was doing a lot of, you know, shows with Nomadic Massive and for my solo project as well. So I remember when we came back from France. I went to Vermont, but then, the year was going, like the next year, 2020 happened. And then I found myself doing a few trips in across Canada, and then I went to Brazil. But I guess, on March 9th. And then during that same time, the COVID or the confinement started, But me, I had already tons of projects on the shelf that I wanted to get, like I wanted to start doing. So I had project of making a lot of music this year, and that was my aim, making music and travel, see people, spend times with family, and then also do a lot of things that I didn't have time to do because I was so busy. So I guess at the same time, the fact that, during the COVID with Nomadic Massive, all the things starting to get canceled, my stuff also as a solo project starting to get canceled. So, and then usually Nomadic, we're quite active. Every summer, we're really active. We're always prepping for the summer. It's the first summer in many, many, many years, over 10 years that we staying in Montreal, which is like different. So I really use that time to focus on my solo project, basically, just make music. That's what I did,
Yeah. So you, like all the folks that I've talked to, all of the creatives have found a way to stay creative during this time. And as you said, and as I know, you went to Brazil and recorded your video.
Yeah.
And so you got that in right before lockdown, which is some of these stories are like, it's absolutely amazing what happened before and what has, just been a boost to, So I guess there are silver linings. As you said, Nomadic Massive would be touring, playing, traveling internationally, and as an international artist, this is a scary situation in terms of looking into the future. So what does that look for you coming up? What does it look like?
I mean, I feel like, exactly. When I came back from Brazil, I had the opportunity to do a lot of stuff there and create, and, and it was in full innocence of what was actually happening because I was not aware. So all the project must have gone, like we had to go on with the project. But when I came back, I was scheduled to travel to Cuba in April. But I remember on March 9th, I came back, and then 4 days after, the provincial government saying that we're on confinement. No one can travel. If you traveled, you have to stay confined for 14 days, etc. So the trip to Cuba, were supposed to play at Havana World Music Festival, and that was for my solo project, got canceled. And me, I mean, I remember at that time, it's a thing I was like, oh no, this pandemic will last 2 weeks or a month, and then everything will go back to normal. And then my hope was so high, and it was my motivation at the same time. Until I hit rock bottom, I was like, this is going to take way more longer than I thought. It's like, what? This is like, what's going on? Like 2 weeks has passed, and I'm like, no, keep working, do it. So then I have to readjust my brain, my life, my goal, my essential, where I put my energy, and because things were not going to come back to normal anytime soon. Not at all. So so it's like how to adjust, how myself adjusting creatively speaking, and how the band also adjusts itself creatively speaking. So, how it's looking like for us is it's really uncertain. We have a lot of platforms who are or somehow have some the financial capability or stability to adjust quick, to use creative ideas and then be able to, next week, there's no festival, there's no jazz festival, but we'll do an online festival. Like there's a lot of these things, but I think us, we are a band where we love outdoor playing. We love doing shows outdoor. I mean, we're a big band, and then at the same time, the adjustment to play, in a stage where there's no one in the crowd and playing online with no direct response of a crowd is very difficult. So to see that as the new normal for us and for me personally in the future is very hard. And then, yeah, it's very hard, So it's hard to get used to that idea, basically.
Yeah, totally understand. I met you in February a couple of years ago now at Folk Alliance International in Montreal.
Yes, yes.
And I remember that evening. You remember?
Yeah.
I remember that so vividly. I mean,
yeah.
Those little rooms were packed with people.
Yeah.
Seeing you on stage, you and 9 people. I don't even remember how many people were on stage that evening.
Yeah.
On a stage this big, in a room full of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
The energy is hard to explain to someone who is not in the room.
Yeah. Well, exactly. We were 9. We were 9, I think. Yeah. Yeah. It was very tight, especially for the MCs, because we're trying to exchange, like, when the main MCs start to sing, trying to exchange to have them on the center, but the stage is so small, and sometimes we just bump the keyboardist, and then a little elbow to the horn player, a saxophone player, and then the bassist has to lift the neck of his bass just to let you pass, then bring it back down, continue on playing, and we're like, so yeah, it's pretty it was a tough scene. So when we have a big stage, we're like, wow, we could play soccer on this stage, we could do anything we want, backflip and everything. But yeah, but it was a great experience that day at the Folk Alliance, and I'm happy also that we've met, because that brought, this new connection, new friendship, and then also being able to exchange and play music for your festival. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the night that I decided. I saw you guys up there, and I'm like, they're coming to us. They have to. Right. And I worked my butt off getting you down here, and yeah, it was a passion of mine that was so rewarding for our community, and there was such a response to you guys on our stage that I am happy, if we can even say that, I am happy that is the concert that we ended on.
Yeah.
Because there's no Dog Mountain, there's no Love It Amp music series. So ending with Nomadic Massive was perfect, if I can even say those words.
Wow.
And talk about a big stage for you guys. That was an amazing show that night.
Yeah. And also, thanks for inviting us there. It's a great opportunity. The even driving there also was very nice. But the view, like to play in such a beautiful view behind the stage and in front, is just like magnificent, And I speak for myself, but I think we all, each member of the band, shared the same sentiment about like how beautiful it was to play in such a nice, magnificent nature and outdoor, and then with beautiful greens and all around us, and then the people there as well, very nice people as well. It was great, and I'm happy that it ends on a good note for the Dog Mountain. Hopefully there'll be an adjustment also on your part and for this festival as well.
Yeah, and there has been. So I want to talk about the adjustment that you made and the album that you are releasing tomorrow, July 31st, and how the writing of that, the creation of that happened in quarantine.
Yep.
So tell us all about what we're going to be able to listen to tomorrow. Your brand new album, Soap Opera.
It's interesting because prior to starting, you know, diving in to the creation of this project, this musical project, I remember, you know, in Brazil, I had only one song. Which is the single Bliye Sa, which means forget it, by the way, in English, but it's in Haitian Creole actually. I remember I didn't have a clear direction of the, you know, the composition of the album. I had an idea, but not as clear as when I came back and in March and starting. So what happened? So I was looking for a direction. I was like, where should I go? What should I write about? What kind of music? What kind of energy? So for sure, the leading single gave me a direction, but the title speaks for itself. Soap opera, as we know what soap opera are. You know, I wanted to, you know, find something that attached directly to how I was feeling at that moment. So, and soap opera seemed to be my life seemed to be a soap opera at that time, and I felt like it's a good time to tap into these emotions and write and start writing. So I used that direction, and I started writing everything during the confinement at my apartment, and recorded everything in my bedroom with a nice pillow on my library where all my books are, to just absorb some of the frequencies and sound, and with my microphone there. So my mic was always open, like always ready to record. So whenever I had an idea, I would just press record and just put some ideas, and after that, you know, maybe a day after, start writing songs. So in terms of productions and writing, everything was done here. And I tried to also tackle, I had time, you know, to work on things, you know. Some of the songs were written super quick. Like I wrote the song in maybe, like the single, I was so, Bliye Sa, I wrote it in, not to brag, but I wrote it in like 3 or 4 hours. Yep. It was interesting because sometimes certain songs, things comes out really quick, and certain songs takes more development and more thinking, the thinking process, so it goes into that. So and then when this came out, I was like, well, this has gone so well. So I moved towards that direction, and, you know, trying to write as much. So basically I wrote more than like 20 songs. And for this project, I chose 5. So there's a lot of songs that exist right now in my hard drive. Were there watching me and probably saying like, you know, let me marinate for a while, maybe in a couple months, revisit, and then, you know, I'll see what shape it will take. But I'm happy with everything that came out. But it's the creative process for me has always been, you know, write as much as possible every day and trying to come up with idea and see where it leads me, you know? And then it led me to the completion of this musical project. Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, creativity does lead us. You know, it's hard to control it. I mean, because as soon as you try to control it, it stops being creative, right?
Yes.
So it takes a life of its own. And I love how you use the word marinate, because not all creations can be created in 3 to 4 hours. You know, like if you want to make pickles are a thing.
Yeah, true. That's true.
They have to go through the process, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
they won't be ready. Is it? Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They'll just be salty cucumbers. And who wants?
So true. Yeah. So true.
So I love that, and it speaks to anyone who's watching this can then understand, again, the creative process. It takes on so many forms, so many forms.
But also it's interesting how, you know, especially having to create during this confinement, there was a thing that happened to me. It was, how am I receiving everything that's happening right now in the world? You know, because it does affects us all, but differently, you know? And then I realized, I was like, I would like to put my energy into creativity and, you know, not remain anxious and then, you know, like kind of in a negative state of mind, you know, because it was an easy route to just stay negative and don't do anything and just wait, you know, and forget about living life, you know. So living life was a thing that, you know, helped me to keep creative and then jump and diving and then saying, you know, it's always good to have a direction, but also good to have that motivation of, you know, moving towards, you know, a project where you want it to complete, you know?
Yeah. You know, I was thinking as you said that, you can, and I'm going to go back to my analogy here. Apologies.
Yeah, for sure.
You can you can just wait, or you can marinate. You know, you can put that in a t-shirt.
Yo, so our next collaboration should be a rap song, Molly and Waahli.
I am so down with that. Speaking of rap songs, so when you use a sample,
yeah,
how does that work in terms of, you can find a sample, but are you always allowed to use a sample? I'm just very curious on the legalities of sampling, because it's such a huge part of hip hop. Yeah. So can you talk about that briefly?
For sure. I mean, like you say, in the hip hop culture, the art of sampling is something that most beat makers or producer embrace. And then it's part of the fun part of discovering also new music as well. You know, like they call it the digging. You know, people dig to find vinyls of like and samples of stuff that never heard before. So people sample vinyls from like rock to alternative music, new age and jazz, you know, reggae, all the styles of music. Some stuff from early 60s and 70s. But the sampling, there's for sure this copyright infringement, but it depends. You know, throughout the years in the 90s, people were sampling a lot in the hip hop. And then industry didn't really have an eye on it, or like for people sampling James Brown, for example, and then James Brown and then having problems with it. But right now, the sampling has changed so much. So most beat makers, it depends what they sample, you know? Some records are really obscure, and some people, the method they use to sample, sometimes samples are not, you cannot recognize them because they chop and then they filter the sound. So the sound is like, you can't even recognize it. It's been pitched as well. So there's the speed as well as changed. So you cannot recognize it. But in terms of someone who would sample a 4 seconds song from, I'm just saying, let's say James Brown again. James Brown, the funky drummer, you want to sample the 4 seconds drum to so, and it's really recognizable. The process is to get the sample cleared if you want to use it in a hip hop song. The process is, first of all, to call the publishing company to see if you could get clear that sample. So you can able to use, so you can use it in your song, in your rap song. Some of the time, most of the time, some of the publishing company will be send us the music that you've done, that you use the sample, and sometimes they listen to it and they're like, oh, this is really cool. You know what? We give you the authorization to use it, and with free of charge. Some companies will actually say, okay, we'll ask you for X amount if you want to use the 4 seconds in your rap songs, you know? But, you know, I feel also that a lot of people got afraid of sampling though that the art of sampling is really important in hip hop, and then that will actually stop their creativity, you know? But I think some people now have learned to adjust with time and be like, I'm gonna continue on sample since it's part of hip hop. And then if my song gets a commercial success, well, I'll probably give, well, not probably, you'll have to give some part of the success you got with that song, but you know. But then creativity, some people just like decide to go sample whatever they want, and yeah, until such a time they get run over. Yeah.
It is just, it's so interesting, the depth, and you know, just thank you for explaining all that. It's because it's a curiosity of mine, and yeah, it is such a unique part of hip hop culture.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you before we leave each other about something that you're doing, I think tomorrow. That's very creative. You are having a show on the water. And so this is an adaptation. So talk to me about what this is going to look like.
So where I live in the southwest of Montreal, it's a neighborhood called Saint Henry, and we have a canal. It's called the Lachine Canal. And then I was there with a friend, and then we started talking, and then we were like, and we, you know, we're both artists. We always have to adjust. So we brainstorm, and then the idea of doing this thing, well, my launch on the boat came. But first it was a pedal boat. The idea came on a pedal boat, and I was like, well, pedal boat could be interesting, but it's a lot of work for me to pedal and sing. No. So I would rather just focus on the singing and have a little boat. So basically then the idea took shape when I started contacting the company and see if it's an idea to be open to it, and then also create, you know, not only this animates or brings, you know, joy and happiness in the neighborhood, but it brings life also in the neighborhood, but also it's my launch of my EP. It's great, and it can be done in respecting the security measures that's in place right now about, you know, being socially distanced from each other. But yeah, so it's gonna happen tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'm inviting everybody to, a lot of people right now has rented their pedal boats or electric boats, so everyone's, you know, really excited about it. So we will be on the water at 4, and then I will have a speaker, a microphone, and my phone to play the song. And the speaker is a Bluetooth speaker, but it's huge. It's not like these little ones you have in your car, but a good one with a powerful sounds. I just got to make sure that I recharge the battery full. So make sure that, when I get there. But yeah, I'm going to perform a few songs. I'm really excited about it. It's very special because it's a launch, especially it's on the boat as well. And then, we'll just ride along the canal, Lachine Canal, and then people that will be on the side of the Lachine Canal can attend the launch as well. They could be dancing, having fun. And then also there'll be people on the water with me as well, and then enjoying the performance. And the event will be filmed as well. We want to, you know, capture that and document that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my next question, is how can I see it? And then how can all the viewers that we're talking to right now see this? Because that, I mean, really we should be documenting all of these new ways we are finding to connect with people. And a concert or a CD release on the water is, you know, years from now, we're going to be like, that's so 2020.
So much.
In 2030, when everything is back to normal, and Waahli goes out and does his boat release. That's so retro. That's so 2020.
So 2020. That's funny, for real. But Yeah, to answer the question, I mean, we'll try to have, not try, but have a live, for sure. I think it's the logistical thing, some of the logistical thing that I have to figure out today. But if not, if the live don't happen, I have someone who's filming, and we'll actually do a nice recap of the event, and then for sure I'll post that online. But live will be very interesting, but I'll definitely make an announcement either later on today, an update, or tomorrow to tell people if they cannot be physically there, my friends across the world, like, you, Molly, in Vermont and States, if you want to watch it, for sure, it'll be fun. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So on that note, I want to just remind folks that they can follow you on Instagram, Waahli, and on Facebook.
Yep.
You can also follow Nomadic Massive.
Yep.
But if they want to see this live concert, either recorded or live, where would they find that?
On the Facebook at Waahli, aka Liesa. They can follow me there, and it'll be on the event page. I'll try to put it live on the event page or my page itself. If it's not on Facebook live, it will be on the Instagram. But I tend to lean more towards the Facebook for various reasons, in terms of quality, and then in terms of IG is like improved, but there's something more interesting in Facebook in terms of the live. They figure something out. I don't know what it is, because I'm not super tech savvy on these things, but I just saw it from far. I'm like, that could be a good option, But yeah, definitely on my social media to stay alert, and then they'll catch the update for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. And then tomorrow they can go to your Bandcamp and purchase your new album.
Yeah, exactly. On my Bandcamp, the album will be available as of tomorrow on all platforms, but definitely Bandcamp is the way to support artists directly. Because in terms of revenue shares, that is spread amongst many bodies, is less on a Bandcamp. If people are aware of that, more money goes to the artist when you go to Bandcamp, in comparison to all the other platforms. But Bandcamp is for artists, and especially now they've been doing a lot of sometimes every once a month now, because of the COVID. They remove their revenue shared every month, once a month. So it's good to know. So if you really want to support artists and you feel that it's really important, I think it's the place to go. So Bandcamp, Waahli, yes.
Absolutely. And, as a presenter myself, and speaking to you as an artist, we're very much in the same predicament, which is why you and I are talking over Zoom, and why I'm not coming up to sit in the pedal boat tomorrow to watch your launch. And so it is super important to end on this note that supporting artists right now is extremely important. Supporting presenters as well, but mostly the artists, because this is not ending anytime soon. And we have to stay creative, and we have to stay engaged. And as you probably know, it gets to be exhausting. Exhausting to try to keep creating so you can create. So any support to artists and to presenters and venues alike is extremely important right now. So I want to end on a really positive note. First of all, I would like to thank you for joining me. I love you. I have loved you since the day I met you. And I am so glad that we are friends, and that we can kick off tomorrow together. So thank you for that. And from Catamoment Arts, thank you so much. But I want,
thanks for having me.
Yes. I would love for you, because after this interview, we're going to show your brand new video, Bliye Sa, that was filmed in Brazil. Can you kick us off? Give us an intro to this video, and then we will say our goodbyes.
An intro to this video. Yes, I'll present the video and say that this is the first single. It's called Bliye Sa. It was shot in Brazil and directed by Gabriel Ranzani. The song was co-produced with my man Bugat, which is a Juno Award winner. We collaborated on this beautiful creation of this song. And then, big shout out to Liesa, who created the bridge in Brazil for me to meet these amazing people like Taja in the video. And then to be able to create this beautiful, for me personally, I'll call it a masterpiece, because it's when you put all these things together and creation, it creates its own magic. So this is Bliye Sa, which means in Haitian Creole, forget about it.
Well, we will not forget about you. Don't forget about me. We will be together soon in person. And thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you very much, and I really enjoyed this time. Thanks for having me, and much love, Molly, and the rest of the people around you.
Thanks, Wally.
Nou gen pouvoir, c'est pour ça yo te mande m'ki jan bagajita. C'est mettre kon ki veye kon, gen moun ki bale trop. Des bayo ki gade lang yo, on di jan pop. Aketo la tourne, expérience en li besoin. Bouche nan pou ka boire, même si de l'eau en senti. Zwazo li finish li, ka li te kete lou, kwe li te pedi. Mais non, mon cheme li. Piti pa kouri ou se riche malere. Nou kareti tan kou fredi, gade nou fek vini. Pitik, nou kon travay pou m'fè. Ake fatik, ba sa, li pi gros paso. Senti bon koute chè, yap touche salè. Gele sa mba konen, mais yo te dim l'autre jour. Gen yo ki kon kouri, mais yo pa kon kache. Mais les marées ap monte, na wè sa ka nage.
Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa. Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa. Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa. Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa.
Nou poisonsi a swel, an net nan jen li semble li pa toune gran moun. Gade gen moun chak jou a pousse sil sou nou. Jodi nou fwe nou bat fè tan kou se kal a lou. Tande, defon rêve nou tout bezwen tandil. Mte kon malep mta mache de an moun mandim. La propose popo, mwen gade l mwepon. Se yon dosye ki rele 1804. Semble yo fou, yo pa boy yo vlen bliye. Gale yo sou, ma fò toune la kay gaye ou bagay kou. Gade jan la ge vibe sou nou. An celebre tan kou nou fin manje yon soup jou mou.
Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa. Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa. Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa.
Leve, rele, gade ki jan nou kon fouette. Devan, derrière, si wan vi met mon en l'air. Leve, rele, gade ki jan nou kon fouette. Devant, derrière, si on vit mettre mon en l'air, faut garder derrière, pour nous bouger devant. Gade si moun yap grandi, faut quitter le palais. Faut garder derrière, pour nous bouger devant. Pas pousser la mon chien, jour nous pral river. Gade moun yo di yo la, et menti yap di kounya. Et ça fait date mon chien nous là, et nous pas bouger ça.
Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa. Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa. Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa. Yo pa vle pou nou din te la, mais jodi yo mè Bliye Sa.
A huge thank you to Waahli for joining me, and a huge thank you to all of you for following these Catamoments and for supporting the Arts Center during this crazy time. And we hope you continue to do so. And for those of you who have participated in our community art projects, thank you so much for doing so. If you want more information about those two things, the COVID Community Quilt and the Hey Annie K, What's Your Art, head on over to our website. You can also find the entire lineup for the Drive-In to Stay Safe movie and concert series there as well. So until next time, stay safe, stay well. We'll talk later.
Catamoment Arts would like to thank these sponsors for their continued support.